Today we're being joined by Leanne Gubbins from the East Fremantle WAFLW Football Club. Leanne, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. Really appreciate the invite. So looking forward to it.
No worries, any time, Leanne. Now, obviously a big milestone game for yourself this week, Leanne. Game 50 in the WAFLW competition. What does that mean to you to reach a pretty big milestone?
Yeah, we've been lucky enough this season. We've had quite a few milestone games this year, actually. I think I'm probably the fifth player, I think, from memory, this year to celebrate 50 games. It's a milestone that we really celebrate within East Freo. We understand that sort of when we only play between 15, 16 games per year, and with the competition just going from strength to strength to get 50 games is something that we sort of wrap our arms around the player and really celebrate their achievement. So yeah, it's something that I guess it's an individual accolade in what is a team sport, but something that you should really actually be really super proud of, I guess, and just really enjoy the moment, I guess.
Sure. So does this week make it any different of a feeling going into this week, Leanne? Do you feel any more nerves going in this week compared to any other week? Is there any added pressure? How does this week feel compared to other weeks?
No, there's no added pressure. I think as well, but given it's Claremont at home, I probably wouldn't have picked any other contest to have the 50th game with. So yeah, I think the fact that it's Claremont at home, it's always such a great contest, no matter where the teams are on the ladder. For us, we know we're backs against the wall. We have to win every game. So it's kind of in a way it takes the pressure off the milestone game a bit, because we just have to. We just know we have to go out and win no matter what. So yeah, the week's been no different for me, but it'll be an exciting week.
Sure. Now, you mentioned about playing Claremont this week. Also, you mentioned they're obviously the two sides, East Freo and Claremont, are generally in the women's competition, always at the top. Why do you feel both sides are always so strong, and why it's always continued to be two of the strongest teams in the comp in general?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure why it's sort of fallen that way with Claremont and East Freo the last three grand finals. I think we're just so well matched with each other. I think there's been a bit of a difference this year. The league's gotten much more competitive in the last couple of years, so you start to see other teams right up there this year as well. But something about Claremont and East Freo, I think it's always just a really good contest. I think it's just a player for player matchup. They're really quite similar. We do have different game styles, so I think it's whoever's game style actually works on the day is often who actually gets the points. There is actually a really weird fact that whoever kicks the first goal of the game wins the game. So I think that's happened. I reckon that's happened the last handful of times we've played. So that'd be really interesting to see if that happens again.
For sure, definitely. Now, you've kicked some goals this year. Obviously, the one against West Perth that comes to mind for a few people. You put the afterburners on, as they call it, and just ran through, kicked a nice goal.
Yes, the last couple of weeks I've been changed and moved forward. Previously played actually going back, I was playing in the West Kimberley Football League was where I first played football. I was playing more as a midfield forward type. When I first came to East Freo, I think I sort of looked at through the midfield, and then they sort of found a position for me across half back, and I played the majority of my time at East Freo across half back, and then they've just pulled the trigger a little bit half time in a couple of games this year, and just moved me forward. And then the last couple of games I've been starting forward and kind of just trying to put my spin on it and bring pressure and some intent. And so luckily it's sort of fallen my way a little bit with a couple of goals, but whatever I can sort of contribute for the team. And
Sure. Now, you mentioned too about changing roles, obviously playing in the back line and playing up forward. Do you like that mixture of playing both roles or whatever's needed? Have you adjusted to it pretty well, it seems, over the last few weeks at least?
100%. I'll play, cliche, I'll play wherever the team need me to play. And if that changes from week to week, depending on who we play or, what players we've got coming back into a team, whether from injury or we'll hopefully get our state 18s back as well soon. So kind of wherever they just feel I'll be best used. it's interesting. I think being a backliner for so long, you do feel comfortable in that spot, and having the whole view of the field in front of you was sort of like, I felt like you're in an advantage position playing in the back line sometimes, and be able to set up and create that movement out of the back line. Definitely what I've learned forward is the work rate of a forward is, obviously no disrespect to the defenders, but your running patterns are just completely different. Your work rate is a lot higher, because I feel like a lot of the time you're making runs and running patterns to benefit others where you might not even get the ball and things like that. So you're doing a lot to create, working high up the ground and back. So kind of, I guess, just those little things that I've needed to learn on the go a bit. But yeah, it's been okay so far. Had some fairly good feedback in terms of output playing forward. But you know, if the coach says to me this week, I'll pop you back, then yeah, I'd be happy to go back as well.
For sure. You mentioned too about some players, playing in the state championships or being a part of that squad. Obviously, they've got another game to go, I think, in a few weeks' time or something like that. It'd be nice to get some of those girls back. And even some of the girls that were in that state squad last year just shows the depth and talent that the squad's got. And even bringing Tasha and Whistle back. Obviously, she was playing here in Melbourne or Victoria for Sandy, and obviously started the first few games for you girls, and then went to Sandy, and they're back on the weekend and seemed to have fitted in pretty well. Having another was a good game. And some of the other girls were in the state squad last year, like Sienna Jezewski, and there's a few others. Noah McNaughton's obviously a big recruit as well. She was obviously a good part of the state championships last year, and must be nice to have a good, strong squad.
Yeah, absolutely. And we feel that since the bye, we've been gone like 5 wins, 1 loss since the bye. So we feel that we're building some real momentum, and the fact that we've, hopefully get Maya and Blizz back in the next couple of weeks, I guess. But yeah, players like Noah have certainly added something to us through the midfield after we lost Zippy Fish to the draft. And then even Sharon Wong. So, having that sort of, ball winner through the midfield, classy skills and stuff. So, and Noah's really added a nice little element for us this year. She's fitted in really, really well after coming across from South Freo. But, yeah, and who else was I going to mention? Sorry.
Sienna and Tash.
Yeah, Sienna. Sienna's had a really good last month of football. Playing out on a wing, she's just really come into her own. So she's been super impressive for us. And Tash Entwistle coming back. She literally came back last week. So played against, played on the weekend against Peel, and just feel like she just adds another element to us. Incredible overhead mark, but just her smarts with the football. Disposal. Her disposal by foot has always been really, really good. So she just added an extra element for us in the midfield on Saturday against Peel, which I think we're going to utilise. And she's one we can play in a number of positions as well. So yeah, really looking forward to the next 3 to 4 weeks in terms of like what we can actually do. We still think we're a really good chance to make the 4, and if we make the 4, we'll have a red hot crack at actually taking the whole thing out. So yeah.
For sure. Obviously that big win against Peel Thunder on the weekend actually shaped you out of the top part of the ladder just by 4 points at the moment. If you look at as you mentioned, the last 4 games or so, obviously you got this week, obviously you mentioned with Claremont, which would always be tough. Then Perth, and then what have we got here? Then got the bye, and then some districts end the season. So what do you think of the bye structure? And obviously now with Perth coming into the competition, does it get a bit annoying in terms of like how if there's an extra team? Obviously it's going to happen now with an extra team, but is it a bit frustrating to keep having a bye in between all that? Kind of, you can have it 2 ways. You can kind of rule momentum. You can help you get players back from injury or whatnot. How do you go when there's a bye nowadays? Do you just cop it, or is it a bit frustrating?
I think there's pros and cons to it. So if you look at the pros of it, it depends when your bye is as well. So if you have a bye round 1, it might not be too bad. But if you have a bye round 3 or 4, I reckon that could really ruin some momentum. We were one of the last teams to have a bye. So I think our bye came in round 7 or 8. That would have been round 8. So it was a chance for us to refresh and even get players back from injury. But then again, if you go on a really good run before you bye and that momentum is stopped, sometimes it can hinder. But I reckon our draw is pretty good. Claremont and Demons, and then having the bye. if we win the next two, we're going to the bye knowing that we just need to win one more to get into finals. So I think there's a couple of ways that you could look at it, but certainly looking at it from a positive perspective. But yeah, certainly as the impact of games goes through the season, I think people do actually appreciate having the bye, and even if it's just a time to get away and to not have football for a week or not go through the stress of selection and stuff like that is actually a bit of a relief for some people too. So yeah, I think there's pros and cons of looking at the bye.
For sure. Obviously, when you started your East Fremantle journey, I think it was in 2022, I believe. How was that journey for you from coming from even originally getting picked up at East Freo? How did that all start, and then how have you seen the transition change from the skills, the improvement from the competition as from then to now? Even though that's not that long ago, but it's nice to see everything go in the right direction.
Yeah, so I was playing up. I was obviously like a quite a late starter to football. I obviously played when I was really, really young, and a very similar story that people have heard previously is, you get to about the age 12, 13 and you're told you can't play anymore, which is totally fine, and sort of went a different direction. And I was up in Broome for work and came across the West Kimberley Football League basically through a colleague from work who said, "Oh, do you play footy?" And ended up playing in Broome, and then at the end of 2021, so I did 3 seasons up in Broome. At the end of 2021, I moved to Perth, and people up in Broome and people that I knew here in Perth sort of suggested a couple of clubs, one being East Freo, the other one being Swan Districts. But then kind of when I was weighing them both up, I was sort of advised that, East Freo might have been a better fit for me. I knew a couple of people there. So, I just went out to pre-season training at the start of 2022. Obviously had no idea, how I would go, or knew the standard was really, really good. So I just had no real idea as to how I'd go, but sort of chuck your hat in the ring in a little bit, so to speak. And ended up sort of playing 2022 season, and then have just sort of played since then. So, but yeah, absolutely. Since I first started at East Freo, the improvement within the WAFLW has just been, phenomenal, really. I mean, you're having young girls, 15, 16, 17-year-olds debuting that, football smart, kick both sides of the body, like incredible fitness and speed. But I feel that that's like filtered through the whole league, in that when you see your young ones up and coming and they come in with all this talent, it forces your, maybe players in their mid-20s, late 20s, 30s to really start to, I've got to work on some stuff here. I've got to get better, because the talent coming through is just next level. It's incredible to see what happens when people don't have to stop playing, if they can just go through grassroots football and come through youth girls and then into the WAFLW league level. It's exciting to see what sort of happened in the last even 5 to 10 years. The standard improvement in WAFLW and AFLW is it's exciting, really, isn't it?
For sure, absolutely, definitely is. And as I said, in any women's league, whether it's AFLW or state league, it's just great to see the drastic change and improvement that it's making. And if you were to reflect, though, Leanne, from your game one, debut in 2022 to now, how do you think you've grown as a footballer? Obviously, stepping up from local to playing state league. How have you seen your own improvement from game one to on the weekend game 50?
Probably it's more so reading the play, I think, and just having a bit more of a composed head, I guess. I think that's probably, whether that's just like football maturity or just, in age maturity as well. Certainly, probably fitness and fitness has improved as well, if I compare myself to 2022 to today. And that's probably just the process of sort of being in the league for the last, 3 seasons, 4 seasons. So building on fitness each year means you can run out games a lot better. Probably skill and probably decision making is probably a main thing. Is when you first start at that league level, your decision making can be a little bit off. But sort of like knowing what decision to make at what time of the game comes with being in that league for a little bit of time as well. So
for sure. we're talking about nerves, and you said you didn't really have any nerves nowadays. Back though, then in that debut game in 2022, how was the feeling going into that? Do you recall that? Was it any different to now? Was it? Yeah, how was it back then?
Yeah, yeah. I don't remember it too much, but I do remember I was pretty nervous, and it's. I still get nervous before games. It's kind of like just that sort of energy before a game, isn't it? That excitement. I think the quicker you can get your hands on the ball, the better. But yeah, certainly remember debut game. You're probably more excited. It's because excitement nerves, isn't it? And you kind of just want to do your best, but not too much pressure. Put too much pressure on yourself. So look, it'll probably be a similar feeling come Sunday. But yeah, just looking forward to it. But nerves always play a part, I think, and I think always people sort of get a bit frustrated when they feel nervous or but sometimes it just shows that you actually really care and you want to do really well out there. So nerves can be a good thing provided you can sort of harness them.
For sure, absolutely. I know. You hear some people they get nothing. There's no nerves. They're absolutely nothing. Then some people are like stressing out and they're all over the place. But sometimes it's interesting how some people go. Now, in terms of some teammates, who would you say are some players that are having good season at the club? Obviously, you mentioned some names off before, but overall, who do you reckon who's having a good year at the club?
There's actually quite a few. I was kind of thinking. I think I was having a chat with my teammates. I'm like, our best and fairest is going to be the most, not a random night, but you've got no idea who could win it because we've had a number of really good performers and nobody that's just completely stood out every single week. So for me, Maddie Evans down back has been amazing. So her progression from last year to this year is outstanding. She's her intercept marking, her ability to read the play. But yeah, she's just incredible by foot. She can run as well. So she, for me, has really stood out. So whether I just had a really good view to her in the back line, but she's been incredible this year. Noah's been a really, really good addition to our midfield/forward. Super skillful, very evasive, very hard to tackle in drills at training. So she's been really, really good. Other players, like I said, Sienna's had a really, really good, especially the last month. Sienna on the wing's been fantastic for us. And then you have your regular contributors like Ashley Gomes, Amber Canane, Larissa Versace, just those that always stand up when you really need them to in certain parts of games, who have been super important for us. Sarah Wilster up front has provided a really good focal point for us, and she often drags 2 or 3 defenders with her. Unfortunately, she gets a fair bit of attention, but it's been great having Andrew Rayson back as well this year as our what we call twin towers up forward. So, but look, I could probably name most of the team in terms of improvements that they've made this year. That, but yeah, probably just highlighted a few there that stand up at different times for us.
For sure, definitely. And there's some good names in that list as well. And we'll continue the theme of teammate questions. I love asking teammate questions. So the first one, or the next one, who loves the limelight, the attention, the camera at East Fremantle, and they can't get enough of it, and they know what to do when cameras are around?
Do I dob in Noah again? Either or. Jazz Johansson loves getting in front of the camera, love their TikToks, they do. A lot of the younger girls, 17, 18-year-olds that, love their TikToks, but I'm going to dob Jazz Johansson in there.
I've had Jazz on here before when I went to Perth 2 years ago or last year. I had her in the Gold King Challenge, and that was clearly obvious. I knew that was going to be an answer, but I was waiting to see if you would say that.
Yeah, I reckon I'll dob Jazz in there. She's got us on a new challenge each week, and it's a tackle challenge. So if you don't lay a tackle in the game, you are forced to do something a little unpleasant at training on the Wednesday night. So everyone's straight to their phones straight after a game to see who the culprits are that haven't tackled. So we might need to change that up soon. But at the moment, it's a tackle stat, and she's head of that, and trying to inspire the girls each week to tackle.
I'm sure sometimes it can be a bit harsh for a key position player or a ruck because that's not normally their forte.
Yeah, and that's come from like my suggestion of if you're not tackling, you might be winning the ball all game and disposing of it beautifully, but you might not have to lay a tackle, which means you've not necessarily played badly, but maybe you were first to it. So hence my suggestion to maybe change it up each week and maybe not let people know what the stat is that we're looking for this week, and just see who it lands on. So, but they're all
Sure,
good
exactly.
fun
That's
games.
very,
Yeah.
very true. And Jazz can't be part of that set if she's injured at the moment, so she doesn't have to cop the punishment then.
I know. So that's a good point. We need to actually have one involved for injured players who, see what they'll eat for not rocking up to training.
Sure, sorry, Jazz, but I just thought I'd bring that up. Now,
I'll
the
let her
next
know.
one. Yeah, I should probably say this now. Now the next one is who would Google themselves and watch back at their own highlights if they had the highlights on Google or wherever? Who would be the one to Google it and share their own highlights?
Amber Canane, without a doubt. Amber Canane loves it. She's actually really good. I'll give her a plug here. She's a genius with Huddle, so she knows exactly how to, sort out like player clips and things like that. But Amber Canane absolutely does the highlights, does the tags. So I'll give her a shout out there.
That's good. It's got to be someone that's not just good on the footy field. You got to be good at the socials, and then I do the same. And it's like you got to be able to be good at clipping things as well, and get content out there because content is very, very important these days. Very important.
It is actually. So we do a little bit of video review. We're all encouraged to watch the game back, whether it be on Huddle or Streamer. There's so much that you can pick up from actually doing some of your own analysis or team analysis. So we'll give Amber that, but it is actually a really important thing to have. I'm pretty sure she does the champion data for the men's team, the senior team. So little feather in her cap there. So, but yeah, it's super important, and the amount you can learn. Whilst we understand we can't pause play while we're playing, but certainly there are some ways in which looking for room for improvement, but also rewarding really good things that we're doing during the game as well.
For sure. I hear people sometimes, and look, it's fine. Some people say about, I don't watch a game back because I just don't want to, or I played bad, I don't want to watch it, or I'll only watch it if I do well. I feel like you mentioned about the improvement side thing, it is good to watch it back because if you say a certain lead that you didn't make when you should have made, or a certain sport that you should have gone for, or should have passed it instead of having a shot, like stuff like that, little things like that, and you could realize that, and you could easily fix things like that.
Yeah, exactly. So we get access to the side-on view, but also the behind the goals view. So really important to have a look at both angles, especially from a defensive point of view. The behind the goals vision is really important to have a look at, but also even playing forward, that behind the goals vision is good to look at in terms of spatial awareness of making sure that you're not on top of other forwards and making the right runs and the right running patterns at your correct time of the game, correct positioning. So yeah, absolutely. You can get too caught up in it. Our coach refers to it as paralysis of analysis. So, you've got to be mindful to not be too caught up in it. And it's just something that sort of just aids you in getting better or rewarding you for doing the right thing at the right time of the game.
Sure, absolutely. Now, if you're stuck on a deserted island with teammates, Leanne, who are you bringing and not bringing, and why?
I love all my teammates. I can't not bring any of them. So I don't want to say like I'm not bringing you.
Okay.
I'm trying to think who would. No, I don't want to not bring anyone.
Okay.
I would bring. I reckon Tash and Whistle for entertainment. Can I bring two?
Sure, of course you can.
I want to bring Tash for pure entertainment. She just has this ability to make you laugh. And I'll probably take my pal Larissa Versace. We just get along really, really well and have a lot in common. So I'll take her actually.
That's good. I was just going to ask you who your favourite teammate is, but I'm assuming you just answered that there.
Oh no, it's not. I've got a few favourites for different reasons. Larissa and I get along quite well. Maybe we are the two older teammates, so we kind of have that little extra element of respect for each other. That we always congratulate each other on each time we're selected because we know it's getting really tough for us. So pat on the back to us each time we get selected. So yeah.
Very good. Coach's pet. Is there any coach's pet at the club?
No, I don't think so. I don't think. No, I don't think it's
Not
not
noticeable.
obvious anyway.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good
Um,
thing.
yeah, nothing that really comes to mind. Sorry.
Mm.
Um,
That's all right. That's fine. It's
yeah,
sometimes a good thing. Sometimes it's a good thing. Sometimes not. Sometimes not too bad. Now,
yeah.
if you have any teammates to appear on a reality TV show, who would appear on a TV show, and what show would that be, or any TV show for that matter?
Oh, 100% our forward line coach, Lenzo. He absolutely loves maths. So I reckon he'll put an application in for maths. Absolutely. So I know he's not a teammate, so to speak, but
Yeah,
part
yeah.
of the team, part of the coaching staff. But yeah,
Mm.
Lenzo absolutely on maths. He'd be so funny
Mm.
too.
Yeah, well, I mean, anyone that you know on those type of shows, or any show for that matter, even if it's not a show that's meant to be funny, you could just find a way to make it funny of something.
Yeah. And the younger girls maybe on like a Love Island show or something like that.
Mm.
Noah, Tash, Tiani T, cool. Maybe one of those that would go on like a Love Island or something.
That'd be interesting. Now, some of the best chatterboxes at the club. Is there any particular chatterboxes at the club, which again can be a good thing as well?
Probably someone like Grace Freeman. She's like
Mhm.
hilarious. Like she can come up with some really funny comments. Um, if we're asked questions, we often do some things to decide if we're sort of breaking off into smaller groups within training to decide who goes
Mhm.
where first. Often it's a
Yeah.
quiz question or something like that. And I find Grace always has a really funny answer to a lot of things. So I like Grace's presence. She like chats away, but she's actually a really lovely girl. And so yeah, she
Mm.
always sort of brings a bit of chat to training with a bit positive. Yeah, so she's actually quite chatty amongst the group and stuff. So
Mm.
I'll give that one to her.
Very good. Now, if teammates were to form a rock/music band, who would be in the band, and what would the band be called?
Oh, don't know what they'd be called. It would be our younger group. I'm going to go like Maddie Evans, Tiani. I'm
Mm-hmm.
then going to go Noah,
Mm-hmm.
and I might throw Sienna Leslie in there. I think she's
Okay.
got she copped a whack in school footy across her eyebrows. She's been rocking a bandage headband
Mm.
for a few, and that just looks rock star to me, along with her zinc game day. So I reckon I'll
Oh
chuck
yeah.
her in probably for like a rock star look. So I'd put those four in. Just not sure
Mm.
what the band would be called, to
Mm.
be honest, off the
That's
top of
fair.
my head. That'd
That's
be
all good.
cool.
That's all good. Now, best singers or dancers at the club. Sometimes some people have no answer. Then some people have so many answers. They're a particular person that either they don't have to be good. They may think they're good, or they're actually good.
I don't know if any like really good singers. We did it was absolutely chucking it down a couple of Friday nights ago. So we decided just to not
Mm.
train because there would just be no benefit in it. So we had
Yeah.
like an in-house session, and we had to do some like a little like dance or some
Yeah.
sort of group activity thing. So
Yeah.
there was some pretty decent break dancing from some like Ashley Gomes pulled out the moves.
Mm.
And Maddie Evans as well with the moves. So yeah,
Awesome.
she's jack of all trades, Maddie Evans, on and off the
Yeah.
field. So yeah, Gomes and Maddie moved quite well. So
Mm.
in terms of the dance perspective, I haven't heard many of them sing. The only time I would
Mm.
hear them sing is probably on like a Mad Monday or post season drinks. Yeah.
Now that's fair enough. Now I love asking food questions because people get so controversial with food questions. But before I do that, you just mentioned there about doing quizzes. So I'm going to quiz you on yourself. All right. So I've got a
Yes.
stat here to see if you know the exact number. Do you know currently what the exact amount? I'm going to do three questions. First one is how many goals have you currently kicked in your career at
In
WAFLW
my
level?
career, I've kicked five goals.
Five. Well, the stats are chipped because it says four, so that's a bit harsh. They've
Oh,
chipped you.
this year.
Oh, sorry, yeah, that's this year. Yeah,
Oh, this year four. I kicked one in my debut year.
that's right. Yeah, so
Yep.
there you go. So that's four. Right. Well, you should know this. I'd be a bit worried if you don't. How many currently before the weekend? Currently, WAFLW games have you played?
49.
Okay, great. Now that's easy, but now this is the hardest one. So I left this on purpose for last.
Okay.
What is the exact? So this will probably show if you look up your stats or not with this answer. So, what is the exact average of disposals you've averaged this season?
It's 10 or 11, but I don't know how,
Higher.
12?
It's higher. 12.5.
5.
Yes.
12.3. 12.5.
That's right.
There we go.
See, now I don't
I
know
thought
if
it
you.
was just over 10, but yeah, fair enough. I don't look too
Okay.
harsh, but you have a glance each week.
Okay, because I love it when some people know their stats off the top of their head. Because, like you said, some people go to their phone straight away, whether it's for punishment, like what Jazz does, or if it's just just looking in general. I'd always be one to do that. I'd love to see it. Well, when I did play footy, there was no stats recorded like that. It was just you have the goal kickers and the best players, so there's no disposals and nothing. But I always count in my head what I had. I might fabricate it a little bit and give myself an extra.
I had a look. I kind of had a look. I think it was a few weeks ago, and I had a look through what I had, and I had 9, 4 times this year or something. Just random numbers like that, where you just think, yeah. But you can kind of look at it and go, sometimes a 9 disposal game's awesome, and sometimes you think, I should have had a bit more of it today, or should have got on the end of a bit more of it. But they're fun to look at. Yeah, but it just depends. Some days it'll come your way, and yeah.
Sure. Now, some of the WAFL girls had on last year, there was a bit of a debate going around with the WAFLW website in terms of the height, how it lists people. Some people feel like they've been gypped a little bit with the stats. Some people reckon they're taller than what the app says. Some say they're shorter than what the app says. Now, for you, it says 165 centimeters. Is that correct?
Yeah, 5'5", 165. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I think I had it listed 164 one year, and I was a bit bothered, but 1 centimeter. No, but I'm listed as 165, so I'm happy with that.
Very good. That's a good thing. Now, let's go to the food question. Now, I have asked well over 150 people, Leanne, these questions, and no one's ever got under 3. I've got a bunch of people that have had 3 out of 6, but no one ever lower. So I have a joke that this fake honours board will have a name on it at this point because it's gone so long without anyone getting that low. So you don't want to be on the honours board for that. So how these questions work is I'll ask you 6 food questions. If you answer them to how I would answer them, that's how you get the point. If you don't answer them how I would, you get it wrong. So the first one, and the most controversial one of the 6, and also a fun fact, no Perth person has said the wrong answer for this one, so no pressure. The first one, is it chicken palmy? Is it a palmy or is it something else?
Oh, so I think it's a palmy.
Okay, great,
others would say a palmer, but for me, it's a chicken palmy.
Good answer. 1 for 1. I answer it. That being in Victoria, I get a split answer, and it kind of does piss me off a little bit because there's 2 reasons I say land to these people. One, if you think it's something else, spell it out. It's an I, right? And if you pronounce it as Parmigiana, not Parmigiana, so it's nothing else. It's a non-negotiable.
Chicken palmy.
So do you have people in Perth, some people in Perth that were you indicating there that a few people in Perth that call it not palmy?
I swear I've seen it advertised as Palmer, as on a specials board and stuff.
No, interesting.
Yeah, so but palmy for me.
Yeah, good answer. Now, pineapple on a pizza, yes or no?
Oh, 100%.
Damn it. Okay, right.
100%. You need the sweet to balance the salty. So pepperoni with pineapple is my go-to because you've got your sweet and salty. So, but appreciate people that don't like it. But yeah, for me, it adds an element of sweet that you need.
See, I like that you mentioned pepperoni, but then you mentioned pineapple. So it's out. So it's a 1 for 2. That's okay. Right. Tomato sauce, cupboard or fridge?
Oh, so fridge.
Okay.
But it's only because I've lived up in Broome. I'm so used to putting everything in the fridge. Same with chocolate, which people is another one that's a bit controversial.
No.
So for me, it's fridge. But definitely when I go back home, I know to look in the cupboard because it's not the fridge. So, but yeah, for me, fridge.
That's fair. I give everyone a point for this one. Yeah, that's probably why no one ever gets 2 or less. But been saying that though, I'm waiting one day for someone to say neither, and if they say neither, they're not getting a point. But you get a point because I'm happy with either one. So 2 for 3, good start. Right, favorite food. Just need one more.
Favorite food?
Yep.
Oh, I love food.
Don't we all?
Oh, for like what meal? Because like I eat so much
Could
food
be
and I love.
anything. You could be talking about, like, could talk about cheese. You could talk about lettuce. You can talk about chocolate. You can talk about a muffin. Anything. It's your choice.
Probably, I'm going to be really boring and go like chicken, just because I have so much of it, and I
Okay.
just love it, and it's like just so versatile. So I love chicken. But then I'm the biggest fan of Wheat Bix you'll ever want to meet. So I love Wheat Bix as well, but I can't say that as my answer. So I'm just going to go
Uh,
chicken.
so that's fair. So you're a Weet-Bix kid, as they say in the ad.
Yeah, not every day, but when I do, like, yeah, enjoy it.
That's fair. So you'll get a point here. So you're 3 for 4. You're safe from being dead last. Let's try and get out of
Awesome.
equal last. Food you don't like.
Mushrooms. It's like, I
Thank
swear
you.
it's a phobia. I can't even walk past them in the shop without like getting like goosebumps and stuff. So it's a real food aversion for me. Yeah, just never liked them as a kid. I've
Never
tried them,
know.
but just can't want them, and like it literally, yeah,
Mm.
gives me goosebumps even just thinking about it. So yeah,
Mm.
mushrooms. I pretend I'm allergic just so people like don't come near me. Absolute
Good.
food aversion with
Yeah.
mushrooms.
Yeah, I don't like mushrooms. They're yuck. Yeah, the only time I probably ever had that was when it's accidentally slipped in something and I didn't notice. But probably ever since a long time ago, with any food that I don't like, I'll make sure I'll look at everything just to make sure something's not put in before I bite it, or what, if it's a burger or whatever it is.
Yeah, yeah. Like even looking at the paper bags that the
Yes.
like the supermarkets provide, I can't even look at those like because I'm like I know I associate them with the mushrooms, so it's a real food
Mm.
aversion. But yeah, I think I've eaten them once in something like because somebody had cooked the dinner for me, and I like just to be polite, but
Yeah, yeah.
I'll avoid them at all costs, and even avoid sitting next to people that have them. Like that's how bad it
Oh,
is.
oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
It really a mushroom hater, but I don't blame you. I don't like them either. Now, the
Yeah.
last one is, so that's another point, obviously. So 4 for 5. So you're already out of there, so out of the bottom bit. So that's good. And just to add an extra point, I guess, favorite takeaway / restaurant place or type of food, even.
Favorite restaurant? See, I live in a really cool spot in East Vic Park in WA, and we're
Mm-hmm.
right by Albany Highway, which is a really good strip of like restaurants and whatever you want.
Yeah.
There's some incredible like beef noodle places and stuff. So I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
have to go like with the handmade noodles. So I'm
Oh
gonna
yeah.
have to say my favorites is is beef noodles.
Okay,
Really,
nice.
really good. Yeah.
Have you got a go-to order?
Just the thick noodles, beef special, like it's just like a beef beef signature
Okay.
bowl with the hand pulled noodles. Yeah, really, really good.
Very good. 5 out of 6. There was no pressure at all. See, you don't need the pressure. You just nailed it just yet again. Now, most prized possessions that you own, Leanne, is there any particular prized possessions that you own that you cherish?
Prized possessions. Can I say an animal?
Pushkin.
Yeah, I've got a dog.
Nice.
My wife feels that I love him more than her, but I'm not sure that's correct. Yeah, so I used to work out in remote communities as a nurse. So
Mm-hmm.
up in remote Aboriginal communities, very far north, northeast, close to the Northern Territory border. I was out there for a little while, and I
Okay.
found him out there when he was only a few weeks old, and he's 10 now. So yeah, he's like my prized possession. He's like my child.
Very
So
nice. That's good.
travel, play and play out with me. So yeah, he's
Mm,
probably my most prized possession.
for sure. If it's flying around with you, then that's definitely a valuable thing to have. Now, now this is interesting. Toughest opponent you've ever matched up on? Obviously, you've been in the competition 2022. Is there any particular player, if not a player or club, that you've always found a tough matchup, either personally or just in general?
Really good question.
Thanks.
I'm going to say Emily Maguire from Swans.
Oh yeah.
She's even like the Swans forward line actually are actually very, very hard to play against. So whether it be Taylor Edwards or Emily Maguire,
Mm,
yeah, probably Emily Maguire. She's deceptively quick, extremely strong, and just an elite kick. So it's actually really, really hard to play on her because if she doesn't get you for strength, she'll get you for her burst speed's very good. And if you let her have it 40 out, chances are she'll kick it. So for me, probably one of the toughest to play on.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Emily Maguire from Swans.
For sure. The Swans forward line over the last few years I've taken a lot of notice in was, it was Corny Sapara last year, and then this year you mentioned Taylor kicked 6, I think, only a week or so ago. And Emily had a really strong year in terms of goals last year and started it as well this year a little bit. So, it's always, like you said, a dangerous forward trio that they have, or group in general that they've had.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot Sapara as well there. They're what we've always found is their movement forward is very, very good. They work very well together, which make them really, really hard to play on. So, yeah.
For sure. Now, if you could poach another player or players from another club to join East Fremantle, no matter how unrealistic you may think it may be, maybe someone that's recently retired that you want to bring back, or someone that's currently on a list elsewhere, who would you like to bring in? You're the list manager. You can be as unrealistic as you like. Who's coming in?
I'm going to pull back. Can I have an East Freo player back and then another club back? So if I could have either Sharon Wong or Zippy Fish back, thank you. I won't take both, just one of those. I'll be happy. And probably from another club, been super impressed with Lisa Steen from Subi, who's come over from just very, very hard to play on, vision, skill, execution. She's, I think, the reason why they're doing so well, big part of the reason why they're doing really well. So if she came knocking at East Freo, we certainly wouldn't say no. So, I'd take Lisa Steen.
So if she knocks on the door, you're answering the door. You're opening it wide open.
Absolutely, even if it means giving up my spot this weekend for her. So
there you go. Got to get the milestone in first. But yes, that is. But they've had a few good recruits. Obviously, Lisa was part of the Swans AFLW side for a while, and obviously Paige Shepherd, I'm just top of my head, she's another one that's been a key part for them, and that's probably why they're on top at the moment, or thereabouts.
Yeah, and Crystal playing so well as well. They're very difficult to play on. I know they got beaten a couple of weeks ago, but when we've played them, just their movement, their skills, their ball movement's been really, really impressive. So, and I think Steen and Shepherd have certainly added to that.
Sure. Now, obviously, over time, people have player interactions with fans in terms of with players from a fan point of view in terms of AFL and AFLW level. Has there ever been a good memory for you yourself that you've interacted with an AFLW player or AFL player at any point in time in your career or life, really, that you kind of remember all the time? Is there anyone that comes to mind, if at all?
No, not really, unfortunately. I haven't really sort of had that interaction. Nothing that comes to mind, sorry, in terms of interaction with AFLW.
Who's your AFL team you go for?
Adelaide Crows. I'm an Adelaide girl originally. So biggest supporter of the men's and the women's team. So,
They're going pretty well for themselves at the men's team at the moment, and the women's side are always in the finals all the time, always at least near the prelims.
Yeah, I mean, the men's team, I've supported kind of since they sort of came in like 91. So I love the men's team, had some very good highs in the late 90s and then some really, a few lows, I guess, recently. But they're certainly doing a lot better this year, maybe to a lot of people's surprise. So I think if they make finals this year, you'd be super happy. But I think just the way in which the men's team are playing at the moment is certainly attracting a number of extra fans, I think. But I've been super lucky with the women's team in terms of how dominant they've been. We thought the inclusion of Port would sort of derail Adelaide, but didn't really too much. I mean, we thought we'd lose a number of players to Port and other expansion clubs, but I think it speaks for the culture at the Adelaide Crows that they've still been one of the most successful teams, I think, in that league, and will continue to be. I think the talent in the SANFLW is really impressive as well. So hopefully we'll still be a pretty dominant force in the next few years as well.
Yeah, I don't see the women's team in particular dropping anytime soon. They're always going to be around the mark at this stage, and they just, they don't lose anyone either. The same players are staying. Look, over time, people might say, well, they're not going to be there forever, like, say, Ebony Marinoff, Chelsea Randall. players like that. They know they're not going to always be Anne Hatcher. They're not going to be there forever. Caitlin Gould up forward. So they just got a lot of strength anyway. They're not going to name you about another 10 easily without even hesitating. That are pretty good players at the Crows. But it's good. That's good. It's good to see that you got two teams going well because mine are not. St Kilda's going great at the moment. So yeah.
Thanks.
Yes, they're going great at the moment. We don't want to talk about that. Now, defenders. I think I know the answer to this, Leanne, because you're mainly a defender. So, defenders, I feel like they don't deserve a lot of love in general in any comp, in particular at the AFL and AFW levels, even as well from the public eye at least. Obviously, the mids got the Brownlow, the rucks even get recognised in Brownlow votes these days, and the forwards obviously got the Coleman. Do the defenders, Leanne, deserve their own official title of an award as well?
Yeah, I think so. I'm just not sure how you would reward that, I guess, but absolutely. Like defences win premierships, they say. So being part of a back line, I think you know how hard you have to work to play well. So absolutely, backliners need some sort of recognition for the hard work that they do. So yeah, 100% on board with that. Just not sure how you would. What it would look like, but yeah.
Well,
absolutely.
see, there was a good example, and I've been pushing for this for a few years at least now on here. Now, the late great Danny Frawley spud on Fox Footy for Bounce years and years ago. He had a segment called the Golden Fist, and how he would do his voting. He would pick the best 3 defenders. You might change the number, but he did the top 3 defenders for the round, defenders only off defensive work or however you wanted to adjudicate it, just like Brownlow votes, you can adjudicate it however you like. He did that for the defenders. He did their 3-2-1, and he did it for every round. And then obviously then whoever wins it wins. Oh, and his award was the Golden Fist. But apparently now I saw a story 2 weeks. I don't know if it's going to happen. There's a legitimate article talking about that they're considering bringing in a defensive award from next year onwards. I don't know if it starts from this year's AFLW or the year after, but it's in talks apparently. So that'd be interesting.
Okay. You probably have to do something similar in terms of calculating some rebound 50s, smothers, intercepts, spoils. So I wonder if they could have some sort of like algorithm where it adds up their points based on those sort of pressure acts, I guess. Might be a good way to determine who gets popped. Don't know.
For sure. Now, what are some fun facts about you, Leanne, that people may not know about you?
Fun facts. Oh, I don't know. I really don't know.
No, fine.
A lot of people don't know that I'm a registered nurse.
Okay.
So yeah, a lot of people don't know that about me. I'm not working sort of hands-on in nursing at the moment. I'm in the education space, like working from home. But yeah, a lot of people don't know that I'm a registered nurse. So yeah, that could be something about me.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Now there's a rule that really, really pisses me off. It happens in all state leagues. Happens in the VFLW, happens in WAFLW, and I've seen it firsthand happen at VFLW in person recently. So it's always in the back of my mind, Leanne, and I wanted to get your take on it. Now, obviously with the clock generally doesn't stop in either competition unless there's some severe injury, okay? Now, I don't know if East Freo was involved in this, but there was a game a few years ago which involved Swan Districts, and that's kind of where it kick-started for me. I didn't like it before then, but then watching a game firsthand, seeing it happen, I just thought, no, this is wrong. So what happened? Now, there was about a minute and a half to go. Swan Districts had the ball about 60 metres out on the boundary in their forward line. They were down, I don't know the exact number, it was 2 or 3. It was under a goal anyway. Now, who's to say they weren't going to win? But they had a minute and a half to go. A player was injured. I use the word injured very loosely. They laid down essentially for a minute and a half. And then as soon as that siren went, they jumped straight up. But this is more about the rule itself, about the clock not stopping. So they had the prime opportunity to win that game. And because they were like 60, 65 out, they were never going to kick the distance. No one kicks that far generally. Well, you might, but unlikely, right? And the rule that annoys me is that the clock should stop when there's an injury time or someone's down or anything like that, just like the AFL do, right? So I feel like someone should be down, the clock should stop. Do you feel like that's a rule that now can be exploited because it's still allowed? Do you feel like that's a rule they should get rid of? Like, so you don't allow the manipulation of a rule and just scrap it all together where the clock should stop. So then no one's going to really try and do it as much. Or if they are down, it must be legitimate.
I think we've had a number of occasions where either we've had a player down that's injured and the clock keeps going. or it's been an opposition player and we've been in a position where we had really good momentum,
Yeah.
or, we're only a few points down and we're actually at the top of our 50. So I think if it's an injury, yeah, clock should stop. But it has to be a legitimate injury. So how do you then, police that? But yeah, it needs to be an injury where the player is involved in the space that the ball's in.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then just stop the clock, allow the player to be taken off the field, whatever way you want to get them off, and then the clock restarts again. But I think only for injury. I think when you start adding things like stoppages and boundary throw-ins and stuff, it just becomes a little bit too much. But I think for an injury, start with an injury, and then if they want to work on stoppages as well. But I think the injury thing, because it can come back if you do exploit it. It can come back and bite you as well. So
it could. You
wouldn't want to see a final or grand final decided.
No.
By it, which at this stage it could possibly happen, couldn't it?
Sure.
The way in which the rules are at the moment.
Sure. There was a game as well, the most recent one that I was in person with, so this one really annoyed me even more. It was a VFW, it was Box Hill and Collingwood. Hawthorn got a point, and there was like 45 seconds to go, so the ball obviously it was in the goal square essentially, just straight through for a point. So the ball's a few metres over the goal line, and the player took at least 20 seconds to grab the ball, so that 20 seconds was still going. So they were up by 2, the side that was having the kick out, by 2 points. It was in their back line, and they just wasted the time. They let it stay for 20 seconds grabbing the ball. So then there was 20 seconds left when it should have been 45. And then to take the kick out, the siren went with 5 seconds to go. So it's like, that's what it really annoys me. Like, it's in the rule, it's allowed, but like, it ruins a good moment, especially in a game that's that close. You never know what could have happened. It could have been, they could have marked it back, they could have rebounded it back in the score. Like, you just don't know what would happen. Because I feel like it's harsh, especially when you're on the wrong side of it. And even if you're on the right side, I just don't feel it's amazing feeling. You want to win the right way, I guess.
Yeah, I kind of remember the 2023 grand final that we won against Claremont. I think we won by about 12 or 14 points in the end. But I think the message came out that we only needed to be up by 1 or 2 goals, because even with about 3 or 4 minutes to go, even if they'd kicked a goal, for Channel 7 to have their ads and everything, it's another minute before it gets to and the clock doesn't stop. So we were actually told that, with the last 2 minutes of the game, we're like, we've won the game, even if they kick a goal here, because it's still it's a minute before they actually start pull the ball up again. Do you know what I mean? So it's not the greatest, is it? Because, we're only 12 or 14 points up, but with 2 minutes to go, we've kind of already won the game.
Yeah.
So, it was and even being on, the positive end of that, being in front in the grand final, it's not ideal. So whether you bring it in for goals and points as well, I don't know. But, teams will exploit it.
Absolutely. Look, I know it's within the rules to do it. I just don't like that the competitions allow that to be the possibility. And don't get me started on TV ads waiting for the ball.
It's frustrating. Playing in those games with Channel 7 and stuff, and we're waiting, we're in position, and you're literally standing there for like 30, 35 seconds.
It's ridiculous.
Purely because the TV ads haven't finished. So when the grand final is always on Channel 7, but you are literally waiting for TV ads and the clock's just ticking. So
that's why Fox Footy is the one to have, or KO, and that you don't have to have that rubbish ads in between. No, I'm not giving them a free plug. I don't work from their association with them. But it's true though. That's like you said, it's just like, it's ridiculous, especially when you're playing, right? You're like, why are we waiting? Like, why, but it's just like, why? We're ready. The umpire's even ready. So like, let's get on with it. Because you'd hate to lose a grand final like that. Imagine that being on the other side. You're 2 points down. There's a minute to go after you kick a goal, and it's in the middle, and you're waiting 30 seconds for an ad. And why is an ad in the last couple of minutes of a game either, by the way?
Yeah, exactly. So it can make or break a game, which is really disappointing, especially if it's a grand final or final. Yeah,
very. Just you're talking about before, talking about mushrooms. Just get you the exit. That pisses me off. Just doing that. Now I'm leaving the most. The toughest question, Leanne, for the last question for you. So I do appreciate you coming on. And it's probably one you didn't expect me to bring up, but I am going to. How long do you feel like you can keep playing at the state league level at WAFLW? Do you feel like you can play beyond this season?
Very interesting discussion I had with my wife on the way back from Mandurah on Saturday. So, yeah, for me, this year was going to be I'd planned on it sort of being my last season for a number of reasons. But yeah, I've since, had discussions about. Look, I really don't know. I think it's really hard because even going into this year, this season, it was literally tick off the box that says pre-season. Do you know what I mean? And tick off the box that says round one. So for me, it's I'm very aware that it's not going to be many more seasons, but it's kind of, it all just depends on how I'm feeling in terms of physically and mentally as well. I think as you get older, you have so many more adult responsibilities and logistically making training twice a week and games, and where a game does take up one day of your weekend and then goes into the next day because you're tired and sore. And but I guess from a footballing perspective, what my wife sort of went back to me with was, but why from a footballing point of view are you wanting to not play anymore? So do you know what I mean? So it's weighing up both of those. She said from a footballing perspective, you're not looking like you're slowing down. You're not looking like you're not keeping up. So why is it that you don't want to play next season, or that you're looking to not play next season? So I think there's just a number of things, and it's just something that I'll look at towards the end of the year and see. But yeah, I'm not sure yet. But my in my head, it was finish up this year, and whether it's play PFL or somewhere else, or do something completely different. But yeah, who knows? I'm not sure. But yeah, if I don't play for East Freo, like I won't play, kind of thing, if that makes sense. So
Gotcha. Yeah.
If I'm going to play footy, it'll be for East Freo. So,
very nice. It's been a pleasure having you on. Just thought I'd end with a bang there and end with a big tough question, the toughest one probably of the whole lot.
No, that's okay. That's fine. That's fine.
No worries. Been a pleasure having you on. All the best for the rest of this season. Hopefully get the job done against Claremont this week, and the next few games after that, including that bye, and then make another final series, and hopefully some premiership success for you at the end of the year. Appreciate you coming on.
Fingers crossed we can sneak into the 4 and and really challenge teams from there. So thanks so much for your time, and thanks so much for having me on.